Hi, hello, vanakkam, and welcome back to yet another episode on your favorite Little Slaw YouTube channel. So today in this video, this is going to be the second video on HELM training. So if you're someone who is interested to learn SRE, please don't forget to take the group training membership, and more videos are going to come for the SRE engineering training part. And in this video, yes, we're going to see about how, in fact, we discussed about how um, effective the Helm is, or how easy the Helm is if you're someone who is packaging for your Kubernetes. And in this video, we are going to I'm going to show you how to deploy your applications without using Helm. And after this, the next video is going to be how are you going to deploy your applications with Helm. So that's what we're going to see today. And firstly, before we start, so let me start my Minikube, which I'm going to use for our demo today. So Minikube start. So this will start the Minikube for you. So for you, if you're someone who is interested to follow me back, all you can do is uh, do this apart. So I have these code. I'll upload it in the repo, and I'll share the GitHub repo in my description. So all you have to do is apply these codes. So again, what I'm doing is I'm actually trying to build a WordPress application with a database connection. Say, for example, I have a persistent volume climb. That's the first kind here, and I have store, and I'm giving like 5 gig of storage for this, and then I'm doing a deployment of my WordPress application, and everything is through the API version, and I'm trying to recreate it, and I'm using the WordPress 6.2 Apache container for this, and then I'm using a MySQL DB for this WordPress application, and then I'm using a service. That's the WordPress service, a load balancer. So we all know what a load balancer does. So I'm using a load balancer within this port 80. So we all know anything that is being deployed in Kubernetes will be in 80 because they all are local to that particular application. But then when it comes outside, we'll use a HTTPS port where we will do the redirection part. And then coming back to this MySQL YAML file, I'm again using another persistent volume climb with 5 gig storage, and then we need to have a password, right? So for now, I'm using directly here. In case if I'm uploading it in my repo or somewhere else, I'll use a um, GitHub repository secrets, and then I'm using the deployment, the MySQL. I'm deploying this. We have to deploy it right after that we created it, and then I'm using the SQL root password, the secret password, everything, and then the service. So firstly, let me show you. So I'm going to apply. So kubectl apply minus f MySQL deployment.yaml. So I'm creating MySQL deployment.yaml. So once I create it, I can see the persistent volume that has been created, the secret that has been created, the deployment that has been created, and the service that has been created. And now let me apply my WordPress. So again, another kubectl apply minus f WordPress deployment.yaml. So again, I'm creating another set of persistent volume climb, and then the deployment, the WordPress deployment, and then the service that has been created. So after this, we have to observe what happens with the PVC. So let me do a kubectl get PVC. That's a persistent volume climb, and here you can see they are still in the pending status, which is they are like trying to create it on their own. And then let me do the kubectl get pods, and here you can see these pods, that is the MySQL and the WordPress pods are still in pending, and they're trying to create on their own. And when I type a kubectl get storage class, I can see the standard Minikube host path, which will be in the delete, the reclaim policy is delete. And then if I type kubectl get svc, I can see our WordPress that has been running, and then the MySQL, and then the Kubernetes. All these are running now currently as part of our. So again, the WordPress, I'm using a load balancer, and then the MySQL, which is the cluster IP, and then the Kubernetes, which is another cluster IP that's been running. And now a few minutes have passed, few seconds have passed. So let's quickly do a kubectl get pods. And here we can see the pods are running now. So this is the expected scenario for us. And now let's just do a quick service check. So kubectl get SVC, and yep, now we can see the services, the mainly the WordPress service, the Noteport word service. So we got the services, and now the WordPress application is up and ready for you to launch in the browser, and then you can start using it. So you can either use Minikube IP and get this IP and run it along the port, or else you have another option, that is Minikube service WordPress. So once you do it, automatically your application, that is your WordPress application, gets loaded. So it loads on your local host, and you are good to set up your WordPress application. So you can give your site title, your username, and then you can install your WordPress and you can start doing your actions. So the objective of this video, so what did we did so far? We have applied, or we have built, or we have deployed an application directly, like just using the YAML files. And in fact, I would tell you, all I did here is I have brought everything into two YAML files. But in real time, what happens is, like, people used to divide these into different modules, like SQL separately, the WordPress separately, the services, the persistent content volumes, everything into separate pods and contents. So I have brought everything same. So let me just quickly explain you what happens if you are running, what kind of difficulties you face when you're running, when you're building your Kubernetes applications without using Helm. So yeah, before we completely learn what or the like what happens, like how does it happen, let's quickly let me give you a quick introduction about this part. So what did we deploy today? So we deployed a basic WordPress application which is connected to a MySQL database using Kubernetes YAML files, the very raw manual way without any Helm charts. So we wrote multiple YAML files, MySQL deployment and service, WordPress deployment and service, secrets for the DB password, and PVCs for the persistent storage, right? So that's already 4 to 5 files. But for now, I have reduced, I have like compressed it to like 2 files, but overall it will happen like 4 to 5 files for a very basic setup. So the first challenge, what is the first challenge that we face here? So the YAML sprawl. So every component is defined in a separate YAML file, like you see here for the WordPress, for the SQL, for deployments, for the services, for the volumes, for the secrets, for the config maps, and there is a lot of repetitions. There is no templating. It is very hard to maintain for different environments, like for dev, for staging, for production, and there are risk of typos as well and mismatches. So DB name must match across files, right? What is the second challenge? That is the storage provisioning. So when we first deployed, WordPress stayed in container creating state because Kubernetes could not dynamically create persistent volumes. So we had to manually enable the storage provisioner in Minikube. So that's the reason we have added Minikube add-ons enable storage provisioner. So without Helm or an operator, we are on our own debugging these low-level platform issues. And then the third challenge is there is no versioning or reusability. So if I want to deploy WordPress 6.0 instead of 5.7, I manually change the image tags. Say for example here, I have the WordPress. So if you see here, I'm using WordPress 6.2, right? So I want to deploy WordPress a different higher version anytime when the new changes are coming in. I have to manually change these image tags, right? And if I want to deploy 5 different WordPress sites, that is copies of the same 5 YAML files, right? That's another challenge, kind of overwork. And then the fourth one, which is we just cannot pass a value file and change the DB name or password or site URL. All we have to do is we have to edit the raw YAML. That is, it's not scalable and it is error prone when working in teams. Yes, so when you're working in a team, anybody have to change the password for the purpose of the safety thing and everything. So it's very difficult for people to work in a scalable environment and in an error prone zone as well. So what we did to make it work, so we created the secrets manually, we applied the multiple files in a specific order, we enable the storage provisioner, we track the port numbers to access the app via Noteport, and then we use for example we did use kubectl describe to debug any issues, and then we did use kubectl logs so that we were able to fix the issues. We were able to find what is happening with the system. So now, actually, again, let me tell you, like, don't get me wrong. So doing this way is a great learning experience. Yes, I have learned a lot doing this way, but you understand how all the moving parts in Kubernetes fit together, right? But what happens is, what if I told you that in the next video you can deploy the same WordPress plus MySQL stack using just one Helm command? Yes, that's what you're going to learn. And there is going to be no manual PVC configuration, that is the persistent volume configuration, no repetitive YAML, easy parameterization, built-in templating, and easy rollback and version controlling. And that's what exactly Helm gives you. And in the next video, we will repackage this whole application using Helm charts, and we will see how it simplifies our deployment pipeline. And if you would like this deep dive into deploying without Helm, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, because next up we're going to show you how Helm takes the pain away. Um, So thank you so much for watching this video. And the next video is going to be like exclusive for the Little Slug Group training subscribers who are training with us for the SRE role, for the SRE career. So if you want to become an SRE engineer, please do take the training subscription, and see you all in our next video. Until then, bye bye. Francis and Mugam, my favorite Little Slug YouTube channel. Take care and bye bye.